Hi, my name is Tiffany, and this is my submission of a short narrated screencast of my master outline to demonstrate the range and breadth of genres, formal and informal, print and digital, that I teach with commentary on how they meet the 3-mode standards. So I'll start by telling you about my job. I teach English language arts at a residential treatment center, and I am the English teacher. So I teach everything. I have an American Lit class, I have an Honors American Lit class, I have a World Literature and Composition class, and an Honors World Literature and Composition class. So they meet the requirements for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. I also teach an AP Literature class, and I also teach an AP Lang class. And then in the summer, I teach a creative writing class and a storytelling through film class. And I also teach an ACT, SAT prep class over the summer. So everything. And I know that you're thinking that I need more prep time, and the answer is I do. So please help me to get these micro credentials so that I can stop licensing and teach more. That would be great. So this is just like a very high level look at what I do in each class. So in American Literature for term 1, you can see over here we have a little narrative subsection. This is the narrative unit that we teach. The students write this, I believe, personal narrative essay, and then they do a little bit of argumentative essay. They just do short essays in response to the anchor text of The Absolutely True Story of Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. In term 2, we have an informational writing unit where they're using the informational texts we read as a launching point to then write a research paper to communicate information about a person, place, event, or issue that would improve an audience's understanding of the secret life of bees. They also will write their choice of a type of poem, and then an argument where they will compare and contrast the book with the movie The Color Purple. Then in term 3, the students have a choice of several writing assignments that they can finish up the unit with. Some of them are narrative or informational, or they're argument writing prompts as well. And then they will also write a literary analysis, which falls under the mode of argument. We're still working on term 4, so that's something that we're generating in Honors American Literature. This unit is a little bit more developed. I've taught it a couple of times and I really enjoy it. So for the first term, they read Of Mice and Men, and then the final project is, again, they get to choose from a list of informational and narrative project prompts. And then for the argument requirement, they do some research, and then together in groups they read Defining Intellectual Disability and then research court cases related to intellectual disability. Then as a group they make a claim about to what extent people with intellectual disability should be held legally responsible for their actions, and they support it with evidence and then present it to the class. This is kind of a class presentation. They tend to really like this project and get really engaged. In the next term, we are reading Their Eyes Were Watching God, and they create a fingerprint poem, kind of copying the same style and tone used in How It Feels to Be Colored Me by Zora Neale Hurston. And then for informational, they work together to create a brochure. They kind of are they pretend like they are creating their own community, and they have several different writing projects. A lot of them are informational that just talk about the rules in their community and how those rules will be enforced, and the type of government system they will have, and the type of social system that they will have, and what are their values, and how do they work together to make sure that everybody's needs are met, and what is their motto, and they come up with a flag, and then at the end they'll create a little ad to try to convince people to come, the kinds of people that they want to live in their community to come and live in their community. So they're trying to figure out a target audience and then attract that target audience. So it's informational, and then at the end there's a little bit of argument as well. Term 3, we are doing a TED Talk unit, and then also we read The Crucible. So for the TED Talk unit, they study like rhetorical elements used in speeches, and then they write and present their own speech. They also create a court record where they write court records for a mock trial where they will determine John Proctor's guilt or innocence in The Crucible. And then they write an argument essay where they have a 5-paragraph essay asserting who was to blame for the Salem witch trials. Term 4, The Other Westmore. By Westmore, we're still working on that unit a little bit. In AP Lang, let's skip that one because I think that one's actually at the end. So World Lit, Persepolis, they start this unit by researching. They start this unit by doing some research around the setting and the historical things going on. That falls under the informational section. I don't have that in this currently, but they are also analyzing like the shared experiences of women throughout history in this unit. They're going to be writing a poem about turning ugliness into beauty, and then they're going to be writing a literary analysis, which is an argument, and also a Girl Rising editorial. So this is just like a newspaper or magazine article that they would publish, making a claim about like what we can do to make the world a better place for the women in it, and then supporting it with evidence and reasoning. Then we are studying Macbeth, writing a literary analysis. Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. This one is largely narrative. So basically they're using these different articles as mentor texts and pulling out important information, like what needs to be included in a narrative text, and then kind of making their own narrative. First They Killed My Father. This one is also still being developed. So students will learn about and do research on genocides. And then they also create blackout poems, which is part of narrative. Honors World Literature and Composition. So in this one, for term 1, students read Frankenstein. They make a Frankenstein collage poem with the theme of physical appearance. They also read some articles about bioengineering and just some debates around ethics, including bioengineering, and then they will come up with their own claim and support it with evidence. In term 2, they are doing lit circles, and then they do a group presentation. So the informational part of this is they create a big display, like a poster display, and it kind of talks about like the theme and the characters and the plot and the conflict and all of the things, and then they present that to their peers. And then the narratives is the students can choose a personal narrative prompt from creative writing options. The next term is Purple Hibiscus. So again, when we start this unit, they do a research presentation, and then they create a visual rhetorical analysis, and they present that in a gallery walk. Argument, this includes, at the end, they write a literary analysis of the novel. In AP Lit, we start off writing college essays. So we do a unit from College Essay Guy, and we go through just several of the phases of writing, like lots of brainstorming and pre-writing activities, and then we kind of go over different ways to format a college essay, and then students practice and they edit, and ultimately they will take their final drafts and use them as the essays on Common App for applying for colleges. So this is kind of one where we walk them through each stage of the writing process all the way through till publication, which in my mind is sending it to colleges for admission. In term 2, we study poetry, and the first thing that they do is they do a little bit of research about a poet of their choice, and they write a biography for the poet. And then as part of their poetry journals, they're doing a lot of poetry analysis. a couple of the assignments require them to write their own poems imitating the style of the poet that they've chosen. And then at the end, they write a poetry analysis that lines up with the requirements for the AP Lit test that they take. In term 3, we're still just figuring this one out, but for the informational text, I'm planning on doing a pre-reading research presentation and then a rhetorical analysis at the end. And then Bel Canto, this one's actually fun. I haven't put it on here. I did, it's right here. The informational argument and narrative is all woven into a podcast. So as we're reading the book Bel Canto, we're going to be listening to and analyzing elements of podcasts, figuring out what works and what doesn't, and listening to podcasts that specifically relate to Bel Canto, and then they will write and record and produce their own podcast, and they really like that. They think it's fun. AP Lang, Evidence of Things Unseen. We're really focusing on creating rhetorical analysis and writing it so that they can be successful on that portion of the AP Lang test. Argument as well. We're doing, so yeah, you can see just several argument units and synthesis and narrative things throughout these courses. Yeah, summer classes, I don't have everything put on yet, but you wanted to see formal and informal texts. So informal, throughout all of these classes, we often do like journal assignments. So especially in the American literature classes, the first thing we'll do is start with a journal assignment. So they just come in and they write in their journals, and it's fairly informal, and then we'll usually have a discussion. And the questions that we talk about feed into their like short essay response questions. So when they're then given the formal assignment of write this essay, they already have ideas generated, and they have material to pull from. So there's formal and informal, print and digital. So, I mean, they write in their journals. I believe that that's print. I don't have it on here, but another thing that we do is we create a newsletter. So each class takes a turn writing the campus newsletter. So that's print, and they get to distribute that to their peers. Digital, we're creating, it's not written in here, but some of the like options that I give them when they have a list of several options to choose from is like a blog post, or write content for a website, and so those are ways that they can have practice writing in more digital formats. And then, as you can see, the 3 mode standards are, we try to hit for example, on here, when I have this master outline and it's informal, narrative, and argument, these are just the 3 main writing assignments that they'll have, but there are often smaller writing assignments like daily and weekly that they do. So we try to hit all of the 3 mode standards in some way, either with a big writing assignment or little writing assignments throughout the unit, but I definitely try to make sure that within a full year of instruction in each class, they're getting several opportunities to do one big writing assignment that falls under the 3 modes of narrative, argument, and informational. So they're getting a lot of experience with all of those modes, and hopefully lots of different genres. So thank you for listening.